With it or quit it? Come on. With it? Quit it.
What?
With it.
We about to turn up in this bitch. All right, what am I winning or quitting today?
Okay. Video from February surfaced of Kareem Hunt involved in an altercation with a woman in the hallway of Hunt's Cleveland apartment complex. As a result, Hunt was placed on the commissioner's exempt list, released by the Chiefs. Under Armour parted ways with him, and Hunt did a live interview to apologize and says he hopes to move on from this. Joy, the Chiefs did the right thing by releasing Kareem Hunt. With it or quit it?
Yeah, I'm gonna with that. They also had no choice.
Right.
But yeah,
because of the exempt list.
They yes, and because public outrage and whatever else. Like they of course were going to release him, so they did the right thing. There's a lot going on with this story.
Yeah.
Now the story broke on Friday, and it's since been tossed over a million different times, and there's new stuff coming out now. There's a couple different incidents that the NFL is investigating now, where he apparently got into a few other altercations.
Right.
There's a couple other videos of him. Yeah, so he's got an anger issue. I think that we can safely establish that at this point. But there's a couple different, and you'll have to bear with me here just for a few minutes. When I saw this video, my initial reaction was not the reaction that I got from the Ray Rice situation. Now, full disclosure for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a domestic violence survivor, so I'm very well versed in every aspect of anything that has to do with domestic violence. So skip me with any of the nonsense that you're going to bring me, because I'm more than qualified to speak about anything I want to in this regard without getting into too much detail. But Ray Rice and this situation are not the same thing. Ray Rice hit his wife, who was speaking to him, knocked her out, stepped over her limp body, then dragged it out of an elevator.
Picked up a shoe.
His fiance at the time.
Right.
Girlfriend, whatever. Significant other, okay? This situation is not domestic violence. It's an assault situation.
Yeah.
He did not know this girl. They did not have an intimate relationship. It would be the equivalent of getting into a fight at a bar with someone.
Yeah.
This is not domestic violence. Domestic violence is very specific. There are many different levels of manipulation and emotional and mental abuse that go into a domestic violence situation that don't apply to this at all. So stop calling it domestic violence, because it's not domestic violence. Like, if you're going to be outraged, please be outraged at the right thing. Now, I know that's a specific thing to say, like, well, you're kind of focusing on the wrong thing here. He put his hands on a woman. No one should put their hands on anybody, okay? That's the first thing I'll say, outside of this not being domestic violence. I'm just laying out the facts here. Obviously, no one should touch anyone else. If everyone keeps their hands to themselves in this situation, we're not talking about this right now. Obviously, you should never hit a woman. I don't advocate for that at all. And where he lost it, he went over and kicked her.
Yeah.
You can't do it, okay? You just can't kick anyone. You specifically can't kick a woman, all right? Don't do that. Pretty safe to say.
Especially not after people restraining you from doing so.
It's a bad situation.
The
video is very damning,
right.
And the Chiefs did the right thing in cutting him, and obviously everyone's going to flip out because it's another video of a football player putting his hands on a woman. That said, this situation is very complicated to me. I don't have the outraged feelings that I had when I saw the Ray Rice video. I just don't. I think that there is a major racial undertone, which obviously hasn't been confirmed, but there are reports that she called him the N-word and spit on him. By the way, spit is assault in itself. She was underage, 2 of them, 19 years old, in his apartment, and was asked to leave. The one side of it is saying that she was hysterical in the hallway, banging on the door for half an hour. My advice is stop bringing back home girls that you don't know. No new friends, okay? That,
exactly.
I mean, I know that's kind of impossible to enforce. Like, you're a young guy, like whatever, but this should be a lesson to you that that's not a good idea.
Right.
Okay? And then, of course, don't put your hands on them, but there's just too much to this situation. Like, 1, it's not domestic violence. 2, she's incredibly aggressive. She's coming back into the situation time and time again. It's not like she got hit and then she wanders off and he's chasing her down the hallway. I mean, am I watching the same video everyone else is watching?
Yeah. I'm
like,
with you.
she is attacking the situation. So is the other girl, actively involved in the situation, antagonizing what is already an elevated situation. He shoved her first. He put her hands on her. And that's what you get. You can't put your hands on women. But she's escalating the situation. She's underage. And there's a report that she called him the N-word. I know everyone feels enabled to say whatever it is that they want to say these days. And I mean, culturally, I don't know how to explain this to you. You can't do that. I know you think you can do that, but you can't do that. It might end badly for you. I know people are going to be outraged at what I'm saying right now, but the reality is that's the truth. You can't go around calling people N-words and spitting on them if that's what happens. Now, you can't hit a woman, but everyone's wrong in this situation. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, the only tie back to the Ray Rice situation that actually matters is, once again, the NFL cannot seem to figure out how to properly investigate anything. How does TMZ get these videos and you don't? You're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You have an army of investigators that pick apart every aspect of these kids' lives when they come into the draft.
Right.
Okay?
So
you
many
know
employees.
what size toenails they have, but you can't figure
Right.
out how to get a hold of a video
that you know exists.
that you know exists. You know the video exists.
Crazy.
My thing is, let me just break this down, okay? And I can't. It just makes me mental, okay? You know the video exists. Get the video.
Be the first person
because
to get it.
TMZ is gonna get the video, dog. We know this.
Yeah.
Shout out to TMZ. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing the work, doing God's work. Like, what are you doing?
Big J
Get
journalism.
the video. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Get the video. Why are you talking to him for? What the Chiefs doing talking to him? Oh, what happened? What happened? Okay. You have billions of dollars at your disposal. You don't even need that. You just need a little bit of effort. Just that much. Okay? TMZ can always get these videos and you can't. You know the video exists. It's a wrap. You might, if the second you know the video exists, you should just expect it to be public.
Yeah.
Expect the worst and expect it to be public.
Because other than that, you're just trying to do whatever problem solving you can for when it comes out and like having those ducks in a row.
Okay, but get ahead of it for once ever. I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of hearing about all these panels that you have and all these education programs and all these active steps that you've taken to. First of all, you're not going to prevent domestic violence. This isn't domestic violence, but you're not going to prevent domestic violence. You're not going to keep bad situations from happening. Okay,
Right.
Welcome to planet Earth.
Yeah.
All right.
Relationships.
I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like, people know that if you kill someone, you go to jail. People still kill people. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bad stuff happens. So you already know that. You already know that this is a possibility, and you know that there's a video. Go get it. I don't want to hear anything else about it. It's unacceptable at this point. How many times this has got to happen? And then you're talking to me, a woman who in sports who watches football, and you're trying to tell me that you've like made major steps since Ray Rice. What have you done? This is the exact situation. This is the exact same situation. What's different, dog? This is not hard. Can you just explain to me how that happens?
It's not a priority. They can say it's a priority as much as they want, and also
Exactly.
how could it be a priority? But what you've said about the complexity that goes into domestic violence, and obviously you said this is not a case of that, but there's so many levels and layers to this to peel back, and at the end of the day, in all different alternate universes, at the end of the day, the NFL still doesn't know what to do about how to handle situations like this. And they have learned nothing over the years.
Nothing. And nothing has changed. And you can't tell me anything has changed because it's the exact same situation. The second you know it, and for the Chiefs to say, oh, he lied, okay, you lie to your kids every Christmas when you tell them Santa Claus is coming down the fucking chimney that you don't have. Okay, so give me a break with that. All right, like, he's wrong. Kareem Hunt is wrong. All right,
Yes.
There's no two ways about it. Kareem Hunt is wrong. You know better. Mm-hmm. You know what's at risk. You're the only one who's going to lose anything in this situation. Yeah. You have to know that. All of that is a fact, okay? But that doesn't excuse the NFL and the Chiefs for being incompetent in how they handled this. You have not proven to me that anything has changed. So my overall takeaway from this is that he's going to get another job. He didn't get picked up on waivers. He's not going to play for the rest of the season anyway. He did the interview. Smart by him to get ahead of it and do the apology tour, because that's what most people want anyway. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, like, this is going to go away. It's going to go away because there's so many things to be outraged over. Yeah. And by the time next year comes around, he's going to get a job because he's extremely talented. And it's not he's young, and it's not up to the NFL to ban him. They can't ban him. It's up to a team whether they're going to pick him up or not, and someone is going to pick him up. I can guarantee you that. And quite frankly, like, I'm not going to be outraged if they do, because this is the world that we live in. Like, I'm not here to pretend like everybody doesn't get another opportunity. Tyreek Hill's on the Kansas City Chiefs. Reuben Foster just got signed. I mean, there's a whole list of examples I could go on right now. Yeah. All I'm saying is, as far as the NFL is concerned, I mean, can you just get ahead of something for once? You know, they could have got the video, made it public, had the whole conversation in the offseason, suspended him for the first 4 games, handled it, and then we wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Happened during the offseason.
February.
Last offseason. Yeah, it's crazy.
The end of last season.
Yeah.
I don't know, dog. What's next?
Moving on. Aaron Rodgers has had one head coach his entire 13-year career. This Sunday, that will change. And next season, he's hoping that the Packers' next head coach will get him to his next championship, discount, double check, whatever championship Super Bowl belt they get. Aaron said this about the process of finding a new coach. I think there's an interest in who the next guy will be, an interest from him. But Mark and Brian and I have always had good lines of communication. Whatever. Joy. Aaron Rodgers should not help decide the Packers' next head coach. With it or quit it.
You know, I was on the other side of this. I thought that he should. And then Chris Carter talked about what happened in Minnesota when his coach was fired. I'm blanking on both coaches' names right
Danny
now.
Green?
Yes. When Danny Green was fired, they asked for Chris Carter's advice, and they hired Mike Tice. Yeah. And Chris said his feelings were, wow, they really have no idea what they're doing, because why are they asking me? I'm not qualified to make this decision.
Exactly.
Which is a very self-aware position by Chris Carter. I don't think that Aaron
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers, who will be a Hall of Famer too,
right.
Has that level of self-awareness. But so that's the reason why I'm going to quit it. I don't think that he should be involved. Now, I think that he should I think he should get along with the new head coach.
With it then.
What?
Should not help decide.
Okay, then I'm going to win it. Yes, I'm going to win it.
Good.
Look, Aaron is clearly difficult to play with. He is clearly difficult to coach. And he's very temperamental. He's very moody. Mm-hmm. Okay? If he doesn't get his scotch and his nice sweater, it's just not going to be a good day for everyone.
Love scotch, sweaters, and shade. Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, very much. Serving shade, honey. Look, I like Aaron Rodgers. I like the attitude. I like the spunkiness. Okay, because I like characters and personalities. Because that's the business that I'm in. So call me selfish, but that's I'm a content person.
Right.
So and Aaron Rodgers is quality content
every time.
But it's not picking on Aaron Rodgers. Like, he hasn't been great this year. It's not all Mike McCarthy's fault. And I think I'm okay with firing Mike McCarthy, because I think over time the story gets old. Like, you run weary of people, even if you like them. Relationships are tough, and if you're working with someone and you're not getting the success that you want, something's got to give. You can't just continue down this path of mediocrity. You just paid Aaron Rodgers $1 bajillion, which you can't get out of. So obviously the quarterback has to stay. It's just the facts of life. Yeah, like, everyone's upset Mike McCarthy's fired because he's a good coach. Like, he's a good coach. Go be a good coach somewhere else. It's time for a change.
Well, talking about time for a change, the Packers' offense hasn't elevated. I mean, last year, Aaron Rodgers, this whole thing between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers really started last year, late January, when they didn't bring back his quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, why didn't y'all talk to me about this? Said in an interview, like, I think that I should be consulted on this.
And he should be.
And then they hired offensive coordinator Joe Philbin, who is now the head coach, but he's only hired because he was OC when they won their championship. So they're reverting back to old ways of winning.
Yeah.
And in this area of the offense where it's clearly getting very, very creative and technically sound on offense. Hell, Aaron Rodgers earlier in the season, he took a play from an offensive lineman. He was like, hey, remember the play we did last year? Let's run that to win. So the play calling, it's so mundane, and I think that Mike McCarthy should have gotten fired in the season or the beginning of the season. Firing right now really makes no sense to me at all. But I don't think he deserved to keep his job or anything. But I strongly feel like Aaron Rodgers and players on the Green Bay Packers should not be consulted when you're talking about who's going to be the franchise, who's going to be the head of the franchise, the head coach, years after Aaron Rodgers is even retired.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you are hiring a coach for the next 5 years, then you're hiring the wrong person, because it's
wrong mindset. Period.
And I don't think that the Packers are that kind of organization. They're an organization that clearly sticks with people for a long time, as you should. Stability is what you need to win championships. So, but firing him during the middle of the season, whatever. Their season's over anyway, so it doesn't really matter. All right, what's next?
You're right. Okay. The Golden State Warriors have controlled the Western Conference and the entire league for about 4 years now. The greatest player, not in the greatest player conversation, Kobe Bean Bryant, thinks the Lakers are taking over soon. El Negro Mamba said, "Enjoy the journey because we'll be champions before you know it. Then we'll be laughing at the Warriors fans who suddenly came out of nowhere." Kobe with the fadeaway shade. Joy, Kobe's right. The Lakers will be NBA champions soon. With it or quit it.
Yeah, I'm gonna with that. Kobe is right. They are gonna be champions soon.
Yes.
My prediction was next year.
Yes.
I'm going to be right. And
It looks like you're right.
I also think they're going to be in the Western Conference Finals this year. I may also be right about that. Ooh. We shall see how close to Nostradamus I actually am.
Also, the Nuggets. I don't care how good Jokic is. How you say his name? Jokic. I don't care how good he is. I love him. I love big centers. I love it. They're not going. The Denver Nuggets and the Clippers aren't going to the Western Conference playoffs.
No, we're not talking about them right now.
Just so you know.
Yes, with much respect, playing great.
Yes.
But that's not what's happening. Kobe taking a jab at Warriors fans is hilarious to me. First of all,
so amazing.
I can understand where Warriors fans are coming from because look. The Heat had a 4-year run, and everyone accused us of being bandwagon fans, and that's fine. Whenever you're doing a bunch of winning, you do get bandwagon fans. Because guess what? I'll explain how this works for everyone. Okay. In general, there are way more fringe fans of sports than there are actual hardcore sports fans.
Oh, of course.
Way more. Okay. Yeah. So you, in your mind, your idea, you sleep in your Cavaliers undies. Okay. Everyone doesn't do that. Some people have families and stuff to do. Right. Okay, so they don't sit down and watch every single game. They don't go to every single game. They have stuff going on. So they're like, oh, I mean, yeah, I like the Warriors. The Warriors are great. Let's watch the Warriors tonight. And then they're like, oh, I like Steph Curry. People don't actually know. And guess what? You probably don't know either. All right, because you don't sit around reading articles all day long and doing research. You just shout things. That's what we do as sport fans. All right, we're mongrels, okay? That's what we do. But the thing about it is there's gonna be bandwagon Lakers fans. They're just because there are just LeBron fans, just like there's just Steph Curry fans. Yep. That's how it works. So yes, there's going to be a lot of bandwagon fans that are going to trot right over to the Lakers when the Lakers get Kevin Durant, and that's what it is.
Ooh, you're calling the KD move.
I don't see what other move there is. I mean, Anthony Davis sounds nice. But is that for real? I don't know. Is that? I mean, it makes them better, obviously, but does it make them better than the Kevin Durant Warriors? I don't think so.
The Kevin Durant.
Where's Boogie go?
You're right. A center isn't the piece that's going to make them champions. No. I think that's the whole. All I want to say is we talked about LeBron James winning the MVP before.
Oh, he's winning the MVP.
Okay. LeBron is about to take a historically great franchise, the Lakers, back to the playoffs after they haven't been in the playoffs since 2013. And y'all think he ain't about to win the MVP?
Oh no! Who thinks he's not going to win MVP? There's people out there who thinks LeBron's not going to win the MVP this year.
Yes, and I think I would argue that they can feel that way. We just got done talking about the Greek Freak. We haven't talked about the Greek Freak yet?
Here's a hardcore spoiler alert. Yes. Okay. Did we talk about Greek Freak yet?
Yeah, it was later on in the show. Later on the show, we
will talk about Greek Freak.
Yeah.
We totally record this linear, so that's why we know that. We can tell the future. Right. Yes, LeBron's going to win the MVP. That's spoiler alert. There's no chance anyone else wins MVP this year except for LeBron.
Who else could possibly do it?
Stop giving out the MVP if they don't give it to LeBron this year.
I 100%.
I mean, it's just silly.
And stop giving out the Heisman too. Nobody cares.
Which just hasn't really been interesting. Tua is going to win. It's not very interesting this year. There's very little hype this year on that, huh?
Because nobody cares.
Well, because everybody knows who's going to win.
No one cares about the Heisman.
Or is it Kyler Murray?
Kyler's going to win.
Oh, Kyler should win.
He's going to win?
He's good. When I found out that he was going to play baseball instead of the NFL, I was like, oh, he's going to let it loose this year. He's good. He's great. He's sitting behind Baker.
Well, congratulations on winning the We Kyler Murray.
Yeah. We got there from a Lakers conversation.
Or Tua. Yeah. I don't know.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.